Born in the Big Apple.
She was a very beautiful woman. Some described her as ageless.
He was a good-looking man. He was, well put together.
Everybody looked at him as the perfect couple, both success written on them.
But behind this fairy tale love story, there was danger waiting in the wings.
It's not something that we see regularly in Bayonne.
It was so shocking when they found that suitcase by the side of the road.
The cops were thinking, who could have done this and why?
It's a story made for the headlines, one that'll leave a family screaming for justice and plunge detectives deep inside a labyrinth of violence, disguise, and deception.
It takes a certain soulless person to do something like that.
The red flag should have come up. Something is wrong. He had a whole new identity and a whole new life.
Yo, man, you killed my mother in cold blood.
Saturday, April 7th, 2007. It's a sunny Easter weekend in Riverdale, an upper-middle-class neighborhood on the northernmost edge of New York City's Bronx borough. But while most residents are enjoying a quiet afternoon, along Fieldston Road, New York State Department of Transportation employee Tony Harris is making his daily rounds under the Hudson River Parkway.
The Department of Transportation person was working, cleaning the area.
He sees a suitcase or bag leaning up against the wall of the underpass. He attempted to pick it up, and the handle broke because it was too heavy.
Hey, James.
So he called over one of his coworkers to see if they could lift the bag together and realized it was just way too heavy.
Ugh, good grief, what's in that thing?
When Tony moves to open the duffel bag, he notices it's already partially unzipped.
He sees a plastic bag protruding somewhat from the open zipper, and he uses a stick to penetrate the bag, and in doing so, he sees a white sheet, what appears to be blue jeans, and white socks, and immediately realizes something is wrong.
I think there's a body in here.
Tony makes a call to his supervisor.
Hey, I think we just found a body in a duffel bag.
If you'll stay back by the car, we'll check it out.
Within minutes, officers are on the scene. Inside the duffel bag, police soon confirm what everyone else already fears.
Yes, it is a body.
They then assume a murder has been committed just based on the circumstances of how the body was found.
We know that it couldn't have been natural causes. It was in a plastic bag and in a suitcase.
But just where had the bag come from? And who was their victim?
They really don't have much to go on here in the very beginning.
This was scary because they had no idea how this person got here or who was responsible.
Is this connected to drugs? Was this a hit? Was this a prostitute who was murdered?
In the next 24 hours, this investigation will shift into high gear when police learn about the shocking disappearance of a New Jersey couple 30 miles away. It's the first of many vanishing acts in an investigation that will stretch for nearly 2 years. A story where what you see isn't always what you get.
He seemed to reinvent himself repeatedly. He just started all over again.
Born in Washington Heights, New York in 1971, Christy Neely grew up in a large and loving family.
Hey, Dad. Sweetie, how y'all doing?
She was one of 6 siblings. They were a very close, tight-knit group that were supportive of each other.
From an early age, Christy stood out for her remarkable beauty.
She just had this bright smile that would light up a room. It was infectious.
She was a very beautiful woman.
But everyone agreed, Christy was much more than a pretty face.
She was smart, she was ambitious, she was hardworking, and she wanted to make something of her life. And one area that she was interested in was the law.
But in the fall of 1992, Christy's life took an unexpected turn.
Christy found out that she was pregnant. She was dating a guy named Antoine, and she decided to keep the child.
Christy loved her son, Jaden, and she was determined to make sure that he got the life he deserved. He was everything to Christy.
Still, as much as Christy adored her son, raising a young child in New York City wasn't easy, and Christy struggled to make ends meet.
She worked in Manhattan as a telemarketer. She had to be on a certain schedule to get to work on time and deal with whatever it was that she was trying to do.
She came from a great family, but she was a proud woman, and most likely she did not want to ask her family for financial assistance. But New York City is one of the most expensive cities in the world, and sometimes you're just one bill away from being out on the streets.
At the same time, she started having relationship issues with Antoine, who was allegedly abusive. Finally, she said, enough is enough, and she moved out. So she ends up living in the women's shelter in East Harlem.
It was far from the life Christy had imagined for herself, but she still remained optimistic.
Don't worry, baby. We're not gonna be here long.
Then, in 2002, Christy finally made good on that promise.
She was going to law school. She was looking after her child and making sure that he was moving forward in a positive direction. She herself was on an upward trajectory.
While Christy enjoyed being back in school, this vibrant young mother soon found something, or rather someone, who captivated her attention just as much as law school did, 40-year-old Sean Sutherland. From the moment Christy first laid eyes on Sean in her paralegal course, sparks flew.
He was a good-looking man. He was, well put together. It looked like he took care of himself as far as his physical build. Maybe 6'2", broad-chested.
Sean had apparently worked in a couple of law firms, and he also worked as a caddy at some of the most exclusive golf courses in New York and New Jersey.
Both her quest as well as his quest for education was indicative of this couple.
Think you might want to hang out and have a drink later on?
I think I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I like that a lot.
The relationship blossomed over the next several months. The two were inseparable, and they were falling harder and harder for one another.
Sean basically treated her like a queen.
While Sean's touch could send a shiver racing down Christy's spine, his growing bond with her son, Jaden, also made her heart sing.
Sean treated him like his son. He considered Sean to be his stepfather.
Want to see some hoops?
Oh, yeah. You think you can beat me?
Yeah, I know I can beat you.
All right, let's go.
It was a great family environment.
And in 2005, Sean suggested they get a place together outside New York City.
I think Christy was a little hesitant to move out of the city and away from her family, but Sean convinced her that it was best for her and her son.
That summer, they moved less than an hour away to Bayonne, New Jersey.
It's a very nice community. There's a lot of children. It's a very family-oriented community.
And while they both continued taking law classes, Sean soon landed a nice-paying gig at the best golf course in town.
He worked at the golf course, the Bayonne Country Club, as a caddy.
If you're a good caddy, you can make a lot of money, especially the club in Bayonne. Those are like senior executives in Fortune 500 corporations.
With a new home, added financial security, and a beautiful blended family, Christy and Sean looked primed to continue their upward path.
Everybody looked at them as the perfect couple. Both go-getters on the go, both success written on them.
But no one could imagine the horrifying chain of events that was about to rip apart this happy couple's idyllic life.
It takes a soulless person to do something like that.
In early 2007, nothing seemed impossible for Bayonne, New Jersey residents Christy Neely and her boyfriend, Sean Sutherland.
In the eyes of the community, both Sean and Christy, quite a handsome couple, quite a great-looking family. They appeared to be what the American dream could be described as.
They had been together for the last 5 years. Both were happily employed, and they were providing a home for Christy's son, Jaden, which he deserved. Life seemed good.
While it seemed this upwardly mobile couple's fortunes were rising faster than the Manhattan skyline, a sickening discovery on April 7th, 2007, underneath a Bronx overpass, sets in motion a chain of events that will cast a dark cloud over their lives.
Is the area secure?
Yes, ma'am, we secured the area.
What do we got?
Well, the Department of Transportation worker had gone under the underpass there along the Henry Hudson Parkway and discovered this luggage, tried to remove that piece of luggage.
Judging by the odor, it had been there for a few days. The body had been twisted to fit inside of this suitcase. It was a really shocking find, even for seasoned detectives.
The victim appears to be a female, but at this point, that's all detectives know.
There was no identification on her. There was no purse. There was nothing to indicate who she was or where she came from.
So she was wearing a white t-shirt, denim shorts, Converse sneakers with no laces, and a black belt with silver rings on it.
While the woman's identity remains a mystery, her cause of death does not.
There was a lot of bruising and abrasions indicating struggle that went on. Ultimately, her neck had been compressed. She was strangled, and that's how she was killed.
This didn't happen easily, and it didn't happen quickly.
And judging by the scene, their victim didn't die here.
Circumstances being what they were, that it appears that it's the crime of a personal nature. Obviously, they were looking to conceal this body and discard it without anyone noticing it.
As for motive, the possibilities seem endless.
Is this someone who's caught up in drugs or prostitution? And is that how it came to be discarded by the side of the road?
That's something to look at. Who are the people surrounding her? What lifestyle did she lead? Is it something that she's doing in her daily routine that has put her in harm's way?
Or even worse, what if this is the work of a serial killer? Who knows if there could be additional bodies ending up in suitcases in New York?
While the Riverdale neighborhood is one of the nicer sections in the Bronx, maybe that also made it a perfect location to dump a body.
Perhaps the perpetrator might think there would have been less of a police presence. Therefore, it would have been easier to dump the body without being spotted.
And as police begin talking to nearby residents, it seems there may be some truth to that theory.
Ma'am, do you remember seeing anything unusual going on out here in the last 2 or 3 days?
No, I'm sorry, I sure haven't.
No cars parked out along this road that you didn't recognize?
I didn't notice anything.
All right.
No one had seen anything, and the police didn't find any evidence in the surrounding area. So this was a total mystery.
If you don't have the person's prints on file, if you don't have any indication of who this person is or where this person lived, it could take years to determine who that person is.
Detectives!
Excuse me.
Then a search of the bag yields a small ray of hope.
This is what we got out of the bag, some jewelry.
Along with a bracelet, the victim was wearing a small pinky ring. It was a silver, two-stone turquoise ring.
It's not much, but maybe it's the traction this investigation so desperately needs.
Let's add that to the description and get it out to the media as soon as possible, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Most people know what their friends or family may wear, if it's a ring or a bracelet or something. They had to get it out there. NYPD had to get it out to the public. And the public is really one of the best resources that we have in police work.
On April 9th, authorities release a sketch of their victim to the media, along with a photograph of the jewelry.
The press immediately picks up the case, and multiple media outlets run the story on their evening news programs.
As one might imagine, finding a body inside of a suitcase is not an everyday occurrence.
That evening, a New Jersey woman named Carol Cassay is just settling into bed when she decides to turn on her television set.
She was watching a clip about a woman's body that was discovered on the side of the Henry Hudson Parkway in the Bronx inside of a suitcase.
It's at that moment the news program shows the victim's composite sketch and her jewelry.
Oh my God.
She recognizes some of the jewelry as being rings that she herself had purchased for her friend.
No.
As Carol reaches for her phone, nothing could prepare her for what she's about to hear.
It was enough to break your heart, but the worst part about it was that there were 2 missing people.
Detectives often rely on the media to help solve crimes. The Crime Stoppers organization is one such program that helps bridge relationships between law enforcement, the community, and the media. As of 2015, leads generated through Crime Stoppers have helped in the clearance of over 1 million cases and led to nearly 700,000 arrests. An evening news report on April 9, 2007, about an unidentified murder victim discovered underneath a Bronx freeway has jolted New Jersey resident Carol Cassay into panic mode.
While Carol's watching this, she recognizes some of the jewelry as being rings that she herself had purchased for her friend, Christy Neely.
Carol immediately calls Christy's younger brother in New York.
Oh, please don't let this be her.
When she sees this, she reaches out to Christy's brother, Chris, and she lets Chris know that she had just seen this on the television, and she believes that the woman in the suitcase might possibly be Christy.
No.
Chris's response stuns Carol.
Carol, this is hard to say, but Christy's disappeared. Yeah, she's been missing for 4 days now.
What?
Chris lets her know that, they're in the middle of filing this missing persons report for Christy.
As her friends and family hold out hope that the dead woman featured on the evening news isn't their beloved Christy, detectives dig deeper into the missing persons report filed by Christy's family.
We didn't know which direction we were headed, whether we thought that she had left home due to an argument, or was there actually something more going on.
One of the first people investigators want to talk to is the man who filed the missing persons report, Christy's brother, Chris Neely.
Hi, Chris.
Hey.
I'm Detective Diaz, and we brought you in just to ask you a few questions, okay?
Okay.
Can you tell me when you found out that Christy was missing?
According to Chris, everything he knows at this point comes from Christy's 14-year-old son, Jaden.
That morning, Chris apparently had gotten a panicked call from his parents. They were worried about Jaden.
Chris says he rushed to his sister's apartment, where he found his nephew frightened and alone. Jaden eventually tells Chris that it's been more than 4 days since he's seen either his mother or Sean.
Why didn't you tell anyone your mom and Sean was missing so long?
I just thought they were coming back.
He always felt like she's going to come back. He's talking about his mother. And he thought Sean was going to come back too.
But after a few days, Chris says his nephew finally realized something was terribly wrong.
Jaden was out of food, he was alone, he was scared, and it was at that moment that he decided to call his grandparents.
Chris says after Jaden's call, he and his family had spent the afternoon trying to reach Christy and her boyfriend, Sean.
I called the cell phone and just kept going to voicemail.
Finally, Chris says he had no choice but to call the police.
A patrol officer was sent to the residence to initiate a missing persons report.
Chris, along with the rest of the family, wound up spending hours with the police attempting to kind of figure out what was going on.
Chris claims police tried to reassure the family that Christy and Sean could still turn up.
Very rarely, and thankfully, do we have missing persons investigations that amount to something serious.
And have either Christy or Sean ever done anything like this before, disappeared without?
Never.
For investigators, the story of the couple's mysterious disappearance is deeply alarming. But there's one thing investigators must find out from the medical examiner's office before they proceed any further. It has to do with the remains found inside the black duffel bag.
They needed to know if the victim indeed was Christy.
On April 10th, Christy's father meets detectives at Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx. Soon, the family's worst fears are confirmed. News of Christy's death hits the entire family hard.
He had the unfortunate experience of going to the morgue in New York and identifying his precious daughter.
But no one is more devastated than her son, Jaden.
He loved his mother so much, and her death caused this big empty void of loss, devastation, and sadness.
Jaden is also the last person to have seen either Christy or her boyfriend
Mm-hmm.
Sean. And despite Jaden's loss, police need to speak to him immediately.
I I know this can't be easy for you, but we really want to catch the person who's responsible for your mother's death. So I just need you to take your time and tell me everything that you can remember, okay?
According to Jaden, 7 days earlier on the night of April 3rd, he, his mother, and Sean were at home.
Jaden said that he went to his room somewhere between 9:30, 10 o'clock. He played video games for a couple of hours, and then he went to bed.
I got up and I got ready for school the next morning.
Normally, his mother would wake him up and make his breakfast before he would go to school. That morning, he woke up and he didn't hear his mother or see her in the kitchen.
He's a 14-year-old, so he managed to prepare his own breakfast and get himself ready for school. But he did seek to say goodbye to his mom.
But Jaden says Sean was the only one awake at that time.
Sean told him that his mother was sleeping in.
According to Jaden, when he returned from school that afternoon, his mother was still nowhere to be found.
Mom! He asked Sean, "Where's my mother?" And he said, "I don't know where she is." It wasn't until later on that he had told her son that she went on vacation. She said she'll be back. I don't know where she went, and left it at that.
His mother's not there.
He couldn't put his finger on it, but in the back of his mind, he knew something was wrong.
Jaden tells police that later that evening, Sean gave him some money for takeout and told him that he had to leave town to visit a sick relative.
That was the last anybody had seen of Sean Sutherland.
Were you aware of any problems between your mom and Sean?
They definitely argue.
Christy's son had described him as being angry and upset and agitated often. No one we spoke to could describe the relationship between them as being physical in nature, but there was a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of arguing.
And what about on April 3rd, that last night that you saw your mom? Did you hear them arguing at all?
No, I didn't.
He couldn't hear any struggle going on.
To investigators, it seems suspicious that Sean left so suddenly and that he had been so evasive to Jaden about his mother's whereabouts. But as the search for Sean Sutherland intensifies, police receive an unexpected phone call, one that will change the entire course of the investigation.
The police get an anonymous phone call out of the blue, and this could be a game changer.
On April 7th, 2007, Christy Neely's body was found stuffed in a duffel bag underneath a Bronx overpass. Now less than 48 hours after Christy's body was identified, investigators are looking for her missing boyfriend, Sean Sutherland, after an eye-opening conversation with Christy's son, Jaden.
They fought constantly from what her son said. There was a constant fighting, constant battling.
Could one of these fights between Christy and Sean have turned deadly? To detectives, it seems unlikely given Jaden's statement about the night of her disappearance.
Did you hear them arguing at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It seems odd that Sean would vanish into thin air. But at the same time, if a confrontation had occurred, you would think somebody would have heard it. And Jaden's room was right next door.
While the questions continue to mount, on April 18, 2007, police receive a shocking call.
So a woman called claiming that she had information about Christy's homicide.
Surprisingly, this information is not about Sean Sutherland. It's about Jaden's father and Christy's ex-boyfriend, Antoine.
This unidentified caller alleges that Antoine assaulted Christy and had assaulted her in the past. And that's one reason why Christy was living in a shelter for a period of time.
If this was the father of Christy's child, it's possible Antoine still had contact with Christy. Maybe Antoine was jealous of Sean and Christy's relationship. Maybe Antoine did something to her, and Sean found out about it and went after him.
In light of Christy's violent injuries, detectives know this theory isn't out of the question.
Strangulation is considered a passionate murder. There has to be emotion involved in that. It takes a lot for somebody to take their hands and actually choke the life out of some individual.
That evening, detectives sit down with Antoine and ask him about his relationship with his ex.
Listen, Antoine, we got a call about you. This person claimed that you physically assaulted Christy before. Now she's dead. You know anything about this?
And look, we had some arguments before, but that was a long time ago.
He was adamant that this was all a thing of the past.
How did you feel about Christy and Sean's relationship? That can be hard for a man to take sometimes.
Like I said, we was cool. She met her new guy. She moved on with her life, and I did the same thing.
Antoine's story never wavers, and it seems like he's telling them the truth, so they decide to let him go.
Great. We appreciate you coming in today.
You eliminate all the options, one by one. And in this circumstance, they probably eliminated every other option except for Sean.
When police question Christy's friends and family, the picture that emerges is in stark contrast to the one she and Sean portrayed to the outside world.
Christy's family members described him as having a dark side and being a jealous person.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Who's that on that phone?
Just a girlfriend from work.
It better not be no guy.
He apparently was a very jealous man, very insecure man, and sought to keep a certain reign on Christy.
And you were just so insecure.
Insecure? Who you calling insecure?
You.
No one we spoke to could describe the relationship between them as being physical or abusive in nature.
Within the state of New Jersey, domestic violence does not just mean physical contact.
It can be emotional, it can be psychological.
It starts to chip away at your self-esteem, and then you begin to think that it's your fault, and maybe you're doing something wrong.
Family members say from the beginning, it seems Sean had completely sunk his hooks into Christy.
Sean, in my opinion, wanted to be the king of his kingdom without, if you will, any interference from Christy's support system.
Okay, just tone down before you wake my son.
Tell me to tone down?
This information definitely raises a red flag. And if the family members are to be believed, police could easily start to wonder if one man's quest for control could graduate to violence.
What if Christy started to fight back a little? What if Sean felt like he wasn't in charge anymore?
Obviously, there was some suspicion that Sean had something to do with this.
But was Sean really capable of murdering the woman he loved? A 1 in a million discovery is about to answer that question and send police on a multi-state manhunt.
He said he was just floored, like, oh my God, I know this is a guy. I just think the randomness of that all working together in one day is just very odd.
Domestic violence, again, is about isolation and control. The batterer wants to control that person. So taking them out of their element, out of their environment, is a part of the control that they have over the victim. And once you become a victim of domestic violence, it's a battering cycle, and you have to cycle through it.
While police in Bayonne, New Jersey are investigating the murder of 36-year-old Christy Neely, they uncover a dark secret about her relationship with boyfriend Sean Sutherland.
Sean was described as controlling and jealous. And that, coupled with the fact that he disappeared one day after Christy vanished, led investigators to believe that maybe this was their guy.
As the search for Sean continues, Bayonne investigator Nikki Diaz and her partner Keith Striffolino decide to see what else they can dig up. They start with the bag used to dispose of Christy Neely's body.
It was one of those expandable duffel bags with zippers. We were able to see the brand name, which was G&S. We decided to go check the local shopping district, which was not far from Christy's residence. It was a shot in the dark. We had checked 4 stores and came up with nothing.
Okay, this is the last one, all right?
As the 2 detectives enter the final store on their list, something immediately catches their attention.
We saw 2 bags that appeared to be identical to the bag that Christy's body had been found in, right down to the brand name G&S.
Yes, ma'am.
We immediately found the store owner. We had asked him if he would remember that particular sale of that bag, and he said that he didn't, but it was very likely that his store manager would remember.
Though there's no surveillance footage to back her up, The clerk's memory of the individual who made the purchase is crystal clear.
African American, like 40s, early 50s. He had come in a couple of times.
He came in and bought one suitcase. He came back a few hours later and stated that it was too small, and he bought a similar suitcase and left again.
Do you still have that bag that he returned? Yes, ma'am, I do. It's in the back.
But before taking the suitcase to the crime lab for testing, detectives present a photo array to the store manager.
Do you recognize any of these?
There's a photo lineup, and one of those photos was a photo of Sean Sutherland.
Yes, ma'am. This is the gentleman here.
You sure? Is this guy?
The individual that worked in the store was able to identify Sean Sutherland positively as the individual that purchased that piece of luggage.
While it's a stunning turn for the investigation, the test results on Sean's returned luggage are even more mind-blowing.
Christy's DNA was found inside that bag.
You can only surmise or conclude reasonably he tried to stuff her in that and she didn't fit, so he went and got a larger piece of luggage.
As for Sean's possible location, family members tell investigators he may be holed up with a cousin in Long Island, New York. That night, they move in to make an arrest.
This is a guy who is accused of murder, and now he's on the run. He is probably not going to go down without a fight.
But when officers move in, the only person at home is Sean's cousin.
Sean, let me see your hands. Let me see your hands, Sean.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! That's Sean! Get on the ground! I'm not Sean, man. He's not here.
It was a dead end.
In the weeks that follow, further frustration mounts.
He never went back to work. He didn't use his phone, didn't contact anyone. No one knew where he was.
They just couldn't find him. Literally, he fell off the face of the earth to them.
1 year passes, and there's still no sign of Sean Sutherland.
It was just so frustrating to Christy's family and friends, as well as the police, because it was just like Sean vanished.
Then, a year and a half after Christy's murder, a tip comes in from a man who lived just down the street from Christy and Sean in Bayonne, New Jersey. But the man's not in Bayonne now. He's at a golf course in a small town in suburban Philadelphia.
Yes, I'm at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. I just finished playing a round. My caddy said his name was Keith Davis. But I swear he's the one in that murder investigation.
Wait, slow down, slow down.
He went to the first tee. He was introduced to Keith Davis as his caddy, and he said he was just floored, like, oh my God, I know this is the guy.
I remember on the news watching the details. I swear it's Sean Sutherland.
Investigators immediately reach out to their counterpart, Detective Craig Cubbin, at the White Marsh Police Department. That afternoon, Detective Cubbin and his sergeant head to the club.
I get there with my sergeant. We talk to Keith Davis, and I tell Keith why we're there. I said, New York has contacted us, and they think you might be a person of interest. I go, are you Sean Sutherland? And he acts like he has no idea what I'm talking about. He goes, I'm Keith Davis.
Sean Sutherland?
No, man, I'm Keith Davis, man.
He was calm and cool. No change of demeanor there. The whole time, I'm not convinced it was Sean. I think it might just be a mix-up of, looks like a certain guy.
But just to be certain, detectives ask to see the man's ID.
No, man, my ID's up in the clubhouse.
I said, oh, it looks like you have a wallet in your pocket. As I open up the wallet, there's an ID in there that says Sean Sutherland. He puts his head down and shakes his head. It basically says, I knew this day was coming.
Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest.
News of Sean's arrest quickly reaches investigators back in New York and New Jersey.
He was discovered on a golf course in another state in Pennsylvania by a person from Bayonne who happened to recognize him. It was like this was meant to be.
But with Sean now in custody, there's still one act that had yet to unfold. His trial. And when it comes time for his own defense, Sean has every intention of bringing down the house.
It's either yes or no. It's a yes or no question. Yo, man, you killed my mother in cold blood.
It's been nearly 5 years since Christy Neely's body was found stuffed in a suitcase underneath a Bronx freeway. Now, after a 1.5-year-long manhunt, the man believed to be responsible for her death, her boyfriend Sean Sutherland, is marched into a Hudson County, New Jersey courtroom to stand trial. But this will be a murder trial unlike any other.
Sean decides that he's going to represent himself.
He had a little bit of legal training, and he thought that was enough.
He had kind of like a smug look on his face. Like he was certain that he had this covered, and there was no doubt in his mind that he was gonna be a free man.
In fact, Sean's so confident in his case that his first legal maneuver is a bold yet risky one.
Sutherland opted for a bench trial.
In a bench trial, the judge makes a determination. He's a trier of the law, and he's a trier of the fact.
Typically, in cases of this nature, all defendants elect for a jury trial. In so doing, you've got 12 jurors, and really all you need to do is convince one that there is some element of doubt.
But as far as Hudson County Prosecutor Tim Moriarty is concerned, there's no question who perpetrated this crime. In his opening statement, Moriarty describes Sean as verbally abusive and claims his volatile personality was tearing his relationship with Christy apart at the seams in 2007.
I've been played before. I don't have time for that.
Christy's son said that Christy and Sean fought every day.
Okay, just tone down.
He had psychological control over her. He would keep her isolated from family, from friends, not want her to go to work, not go out into the community and reach out to people. And in that sense, he gains more power and control over her.
It was not a good relationship.
She starts to see the real Sean, the ugly side. So there's the two faces. You have the good side, then you have the ugly side. And behind closed doors is the ugly side.
Prosecutor Moriarty asserts that on the night of April 3rd, 2007, Christy Neely and Sean Sutherland had one of their usual spats. Only this time, it turned violent.
Ain't nothing wrong with me.
Clearly have issues! Something had happened between them, whether it be a fight where he hit her or, whatever it may be. Christy died from blunt force trauma and compression to her neck.
In layman's terms, he strangled her.
It's a very violent act. Someone has their hands around your neck, and you're fighting for your life. You're fighting to breathe.
I think that the most disturbing part of what happened to Christy Neely is that her son was in a bedroom close to where she was actually strangled and murdered. And he was there in the house, and Sean had no regard for him, for his life, for his future, which is such a lack of empathy and cold-heartedness.
Didn't hear any struggle going on in the apartment. He said he played video games and watched TV, but there was no sense that he heard the murder occur.
Authorities believe that the next morning after Jayden went to school, that Sean went to a nearby store and purchased a suitcase with the express purpose of stuffing Christy's body in it, driving 36 miles in a borrowed car to dump her body.
To support the state's case, Prosecutor Moriarty highlights the slew of circumstantial and physical evidence tying Sean to the crime.
He disappeared. A lot of suspicious things that he told police and the family that just didn't make sense. They did a forensic analysis on the first suitcase he bought and found Christy's DNA in the outer part of the trim. The store clerk was shown a photo array of possible suspects, and Sean Sutherland was picked out of that photo lineup.
It was a pretty overwhelming case.
And the most powerful testimony comes from Christy's own son, Jayden.
This is a young man who loved his mother. His testimony was both powerful and moving. He eloquently spoke to the tension that was present inside the home and how Sean prevented him from going into his mother's room the day that she disappeared.
But in cross, Sean tries to tear down Jayden's testimony, as well as the reputation of his mother.
When you first met Mr. Sutherland, you were not living in a family shelter. When we first met you, yeah, we was living in the shelter. Did you have any problems in school? Objection.
For Jayden, having to be cross-examined by the very man he believes killed his mother is more than he can take.
Yo, man, you killed my mother in cold blood.
But Sean does much more than rile the state's witnesses. He attempts to point the finger at other potential suspects.
Whoever it was called as a concerned citizen and gave a report that basically establishes that anybody could have committed this crime against Ms. Neely.
His entire defense was that the state's case was purely circumstantial and that they did not have enough evidence against him for the necessary burden of proof.
Sean objected to everything he could, citing rules and statutes he really knew nothing about. It was all pretty ridiculous, but to the judge's credit, he was very patient.
There's an old adage that says that an attorney that represents himself has a fool for a client.
Finally, after 10 weeks of testimony, Judge Francis Schultz returns to his chambers to determine Sean's fate. On March 16, 2012, he returns with the verdict.
He was found guilty of a murder, and he was sentenced to 30 years with no chance of parole. He thought that he was going to get away with this, and just knowing that he wasn't was, it was a lot of satisfaction.
Christy's family and her son Jaden had been through so much for so long, so they were happy that they finally got justice in this case.
Equally as important for the family is the fact that Sean Sutherland has finally been unmasked for the monster he is.
Sean, one of those people that's, the life of the party, and until you get to really know him, and then he's a controlling psychopath and makes life a living hell for you.
But it's too little too late for the loving mother who fell prey to this master of manipulation.
When he felt like he had the hold on you, and he could be gracious and charming and very social. When he realized that you didn't buy his act, that's when the